Hi, my name is Heather Brochus. I'm the William Patterson University Director of Athletics Communications and Compliance, and this video is to meet our NCAA annual requirement for student-athlete eligibility meetings. We will be working together through a PowerPoint, and you will complete your paperwork as we go. You must act ethically with honesty and good sportsmanship at all times. It's unethical to withhold information or be dishonest when we are determining your eligibility or during any type of investigation. Your lack of honesty could result in you losing your eligibility. In terms of gambling, you are ineligible if you wager on any professional, college, or amateur contests or activities for any sport for which the NCAA sponsors a championship. This includes fantasy leagues, pools like Super Bowl Pick a Square Pool, sports books, and apps like FanDuel. Financial aid. In Division III, you may not accept any financial aid other than the non-athletics financial aid that William Patterson distributes to the general student population. You may receive assistance from anyone on whom you are naturally or legally dependent. You may receive awards based on things other than athletics leadership, athletics ability, athletics participation, or athletics performance. You may also receive aid from a group outside of WP, but only if it meets the requirements specified by the NCAA. You must report any aid of this type to myself if you are receiving this. Also, crowdfunding, such as setting up a GoFundMe to help pay for any of your educational costs, is not allowed. Full-time student. You must be a full-time student in order to be eligible to try out, practice, or compete. For undergraduate students, you must be enrolled in at least 12 credits, and for graduate students, you must be enrolled in at least 9 credits. This means every minute of every day, you must be a full-time student. When we have add drop at the beginning of each semester, if you're planning to drop a class and add something else, please add before you drop. Now, there are 2 exceptions to the full-time rule, allowing student athletes to compete while registered part-time. The first exception, a student athlete is enrolled part-time during their final semester of their baccalaureate or graduate program, or minor or undergraduate certificate program, and the institution certifies that the student is enrolled in the courses necessary to complete the degree, minor, or certificate program requirements. The student also must have applied for graduation. Exception 2, a student athlete is enrolled part-time during the final semester of a baccalaureate program before participating in an experiential learning requirement the following term. These would be things like student teaching or a required internship. And that is permissible provided the institution certifies the student is enrolled in the courses necessary to complete the degree requirements beyond that experiential learning requirement. Now, there are other implications if you are registered for less than 12 credits. First and foremost, your financial aid could be affected, the amount that you receive. Also, you are not allowed to live in on-campus housing if you're not a full-time student. If you are going to be in this situation for your final semester, please let me know the semester in advance so that I can walk you through this process. Division III, we do not have a clock that starts the day you graduate from high school. Instead, Division III, a student athlete has 4 seasons of participation per sport to use during his or her first 10 full-time semesters. Season of participation is executed when a student athlete practices or competes on or after the first date of competition for that sport. So there are no practice-only red shirts in Division III like there are in Division I. For those suffering a season-ending injury or illness during the first half of the season, you may be eligible for what's called a medical hardship waiver. If so, that would mean you did not use one of your 4 seasons. Our athletic training staff helps to coordinate the medical hardship waiver process. In terms of full-time semesters, you execute a full-time semester when you are registered full-time, again, 12 credits for undergraduate students, 9 credits for graduate students at the start of the semester. Semesters are fall and spring only. Now, due to the ongoing pandemic, the NCAA has issued several blanket waivers. For the spring 2020 season, no season or full-time semester was used by our baseball, golf, tennis, and softball student athletes. That is only baseball, golf, tennis, and softball for spring 2020. For the 2020-2021 academic year, no student athlete will use one of their seasons of participation, no matter how little or how much you practiced or competed. Student athletes eligible for competition would receive an extension of their 10-semester enrollment limit for each semester used during the 2020-21 academic year. However, these extra semesters must be used immediately after the 10th semester is exhausted and must be used consecutively so that there is no gap in enrollment. Any questions you have, and it is somewhat complicated, please direct them to me. My email address is available on our staff directory on wpupioneers.com. So our academic progress standards: in order to remain eligible, continuing William Patterson students must meet the New Jersey Athletic Conference's annual academic progress standards. This means that each year, September 1st to August 31st, you must pass a minimum of 24 credits. And as of August 31st, you must have a minimum cumulative GPA of 2.000. A one-time non-transferable waiver is available, and that allows you to compete while on probation. But if you fail to meet both of these standards again, you are ineligible. Mid-year transfers must pass 12 credits and have a 2.000 GPA during the single semester. Credits earned prior to your first semester at William Patterson may not be counted towards your first 24 credit requirement. If you repeat a class you have already passed during that same year, it will only count once towards the 24 credit requirement. For instance, in the fall you take a class and you receive a passing grade of D. However, you need to repeat that course because you need to improve upon that grade, and so you take it again the following spring and receive a C. You may only count the credits for that class once towards your 24 total. If you were granted a leave of absence or a total withdrawal from the university, it does not waive these requirements. You will still be held to these standards. Your William Patterson GPA is based only on courses you complete at William Patterson. So if you are looking to take summer courses to improve upon your GPA, those courses must be taken at William Patterson. We also have a semester academic progress standard. You must pass a minimum of 6 credits and have a minimum 1.000 GPA during each semester in order to be eligible the next semester. There is no waiver of probation available. You are automatically ineligible for the next semester if you fail to meet both of these requirements. Credits earned during winter or summer sessions cannot be used to meet this standard. If you fail to meet these requirements, you must reestablish your eligibility at WP in order to compete in the future at WP, meaning you would need to pass 6 credits and have a 1.0 GPA during a fall or spring semester in the future. If granted an official leave of absence by the university, these semester requirements will be waived, but only for that particular semester. Now, once you are an athlete, you are always an athlete. You will be held to these standards as long as you are at William Patterson even if you decide to stop participating athletically here, but want to transfer and compete somewhere else. Falling below a 2.0 GPA also has other implications. You can lose your financial aid, and you also can be dismissed from William Patterson. For transfer students, the places you are transferring from determine your athletic and academic eligibility and how many full-time semesters and seasons of participation you have used. So you must report to me all of the colleges and universities you previously attended, even if you didn't participate in athletics. If you were a student somewhere else for just one day, that must be reported in your paperwork that we will fill out at the end of this video. Those who participate athletically in any way, try out, practice, and or compete must be eligible when leaving William Patterson in order to transfer to another four-year school and be immediately eligible to participate in athletics there. Once you participate athletically in any way, even if you choose to stop, you are held to the academic progress standards for the remainder of your time in college. Student conduct and disciplinary actions can also affect your eligibility status. If you have a student conduct issue that results in you being placed on disciplinary probation, you will be ineligible for athletics for the duration of that sanction. If you are not eligible to participate at William Patterson, you must do one of the following before you can compete athletically at a new four-year school. First would be become eligible at William Patterson before you transfer. Second would be to serve a year in residence at the new school. And after that 1 year of full-time residency, that institution will determine your eligibility status. Or meet the requirements for a 2-year non-participation exemption. However, NJAC schools do not recognize the 2-year non-participation exemption for transfers within the conference. A student athlete transferring from William Patterson to another Division III college or university may use an NCAA self-release form to allow contact between you and the new school. This is available on ncaa.org and wpupioneers.com/compliance. The one exception is that self-releases cannot be used to contact another NJAC school. A self-release form is valid for 30 days. After 30 days, contact must stop, and that school must ask William Patterson for official permission to contact you. Please contact me directly if you have any questions about transferring. Recruitment. As a current student athlete, you may do the following, and only the following, as part of William Patterson's recruitment of a prospective student athlete, a PSA. So you may receive calls from a prospect. You may participate in admissions calls. You may call the prospect at our expense, but only for recruitment purposes and with full knowledge of the athletics department. In terms of electronic transmissions, this covers things like email, text messages, and social media. You may communicate privately with the prospect. So you may text, but you may not group text. You may send a direct message on Twitter, but you cannot tweet publicly. I think you get the gist of that one. Campus visits, you may serve as a student host during the prospect's official visit, and the prospect may stay in your room on campus during an unofficial visit. Off campus, you may attend a prospect's game or event voluntarily, not at the direction of your coach, but you may not talk to that prospect before or after the event at that site, and you cannot share with your coach the fact that you attended or your thoughts about the prospect's performance. Any questions in terms of your role and what you are allowed to do with recruiting, please ask your coach, or you may contact me directly. Now it is time for our annual eligibility paperwork. All of this paperwork must be completed with a pen. Page 3 says at the very top, William Patterson University 2021 eligibility data sheet, complete every line. So please fill out every section. Otherwise, I will be contacting you to complete the parts that you have missed. Where it says high school, you are going to list the name of your high school and the month and year that you graduated. The date you first enrolled at William Patterson, we just need the semester and the year. So fall or spring and the year that you first started at WP. The NCAA ethnicity report, please check all that apply to you. Transfers, we need you to complete all the requested info and again, list every previous institution you attended. If there aren't enough lines, please just squeeze it in. Where it says, have you ever signed a contract with a pro or semi-pro team? Please answer yes or no. And at the very bottom, it says that you have been truthful in all your statements and believe you are eligible. So you will sign and date at the bottom. Please pause the video at this point while you complete these entries and then press play when you are ready to resume. Hazing is our next page of the paperwork. New Jersey, William Patterson, the athletic department take hazing very seriously. Some examples: any activity done against a person's will, forcing someone to eat or drink something, or withholding food and drink, preventing or restricting personal hygiene, causing indecent exposure, physical, mental, or emotional harassment, or expecting a new person to perform personal services for you. Hazing may occur face-to-face or electronically, and it's not a matter of if you think the action you are doing to a person is hazing. What matters is if the person who believes they are the victim believes it is hazing. If you think you are the victim of hazing or you think you have witnessed an act of hazing, you must report it to the athletic director. Please sign and date at the bottom. And please pause the video while you complete these entries. Our next page has to do with athletic training and medical services. The top section talks about insurance. Hopefully you have, whether it's through your parents or guardians, yourself, primary health care insurance. William Patterson Athletics also has supplemental insurance, and this helps to pay the difference between a bill and what your primary insurance covers for things like surgeries. So if you were to have surgery, you would receive a bill, and your primary health insurance would pay most of the bill, but there likely would be a difference, still a balance due. The supplemental athletics insurance helps to pay that remaining balance due. This is only for injuries sustained during practice or competition during your traditional season. So please sign and date at the top. The rest of the page has to do with your own responsibilities for your healthcare, and please read through each of these. But I would like to bring number 3 to your attention. Student athletes have a responsibility to themselves and each other to report all head injuries and concussion-like symptoms to the medical staff as soon as possible. So please put your initials in the spot provided on number 3. Additionally, you must report any injury or serious illness to the certified athletic trainers or counseling health and wellness office within 72 hours. If you are on campus and it is an emergency situation, please call campus police. You also must pass a physical with the university physician every year in order to practice or compete. Please bring all of your off-campus treatment paperwork to the athletic trainers within 30 days. And at the bottom, you're going to sign and date that you certify that you have read the material about injuries and insurance. The next page has several different items, including academic progress standards and NJAC. Even though there are COVID waivers for these this year, the annual standard and the semester standards will go back into effect in the fall of 2021. So just so that we all are understanding, we are still going to complete this section of the paperwork this year. And so you are going to put your initials next to each of the two at the top to acknowledge. The first, I understand I must pass at least 24 credits and maintain a minimum William Harrison cumulative GPA of 2.000 each year in order to be athletically eligible for the following academic year. And I understand that each semester I must pass at least 6 credits and have a minimum 1.000 GPA. If I fail to meet both of these requirements, I am automatically ineligible to participate athletically the next semester. There is no appeal or waiver, and this requirement may not be met by using credits earned during winter or summer sessions. The middle section is the NJAC student athlete eligibility statement. And you are going to complete those 2 lines of information. This is saying you acknowledge that the eligibility information has been provided to you by a member of the William Harrison staff. That's what we're doing in this video. And that you agree to the terms as a condition of your participation. The bottom section is the NJAC Code of Conduct statement. And again, please complete all of the entries for the bottom 2 lines. This is saying we will handle ourselves in a positive manner in and out of the competitive arena, display good sportsmanship and ethical conduct, and will obey all NCAA, NJAC, and William Harrison rules and policies. This includes our behavior during competition, as well as during the recruiting process. Please pause the video while you complete all of the entries on page 6. The next page also has 3 different things on it. The top section has to do with equipment. William Harrison will issue to you certain items such as uniforms and other equipment like helmets that must be returned at the end of the season. If you lose it, it's stolen, or you damage it, not normal wear and tear, you will pay to replace it. Failure to do so will result in a financial hold being put on your account. Please sign and date to acknowledge. The middle section has to do with gambling, and we covered this briefly in the beginning of the video. Sports wagering is a violation of NCAA rules and will result in your ineligibility to compete. You are ineligible if you wager on any pro, college, or amateur contests or activities for any sport for which the NCAA sponsors a championship. The NCAA sponsors a championship in women's beach volleyball, but does not sponsor a championship in men's beach volleyball. So you could wager on men's beach volleyball, on MMA, on boxing, certainly horses and dog races that are run at sanctioned tracks, but you could not wager on the Little League World Series because the NCAA sponsors a baseball championship. In terms of a wager, if you have to pay to get into it, then it's a violation. This legislation includes pick-a-square pools, survivor pools, fantasy leagues, sports books, FanDuel, DraftKings. Sports wagering includes placing, accepting, or soliciting a wager on a staff member's or student athlete's own behalf or on behalf of others of any type with any individual or organization on any intercollegiate, amateur, or professional team or contest. All right, and a wager is any agreement in which an individual or entity agrees to give up an item of value, like cash or a shirt or dinner, in exchange for the possibility of gaining another item of value. Please sign and date to acknowledge. The bottom part is about image release. You are authorizing William Patterson University, Athletics, Twilly P, Marketing and Public Relations to use your image or video to help promote you, your team, the athletics department, and the university. Please sign and date at the bottom. And please pause the video while you complete the entries on page 7. Now we begin the NCAA portion of the paperwork, and for our returning student athletes, this will look different this year. The NCAA has changed the paperwork, so please follow along. First, start by completing all of the lines at the top, and at the end, you will sign to affirm that you agree with and consent to all of these items. Part 1 is a general statement concerning eligibility, a little more than halfway down this page. To the best of your knowledge, you're eligible. You meet the NCAA regulations in terms of eligibility, recruitment, financial aid, amateur status, and organized gambling. You're aware of the NCAA drug testing program and have signed the consent statement. We'll do that at the end. You have reported any NCAA rules violations by you or the institution to the athletic director. And if you sign this falsely, you will jeopardize your eligibility. Part 2 is the FERPA and HIPAA consent. Our returning student athletes will remember this as the Buckley consent. So FERPA and HIPAA, 2 federal laws. Certain information of yours is private unless you give permission. FERPA access includes your transcripts, disciplinary records, drug test results, test scores and grades, graduation status, social security and student ID numbers, race and gender identification, education impacting disabilities, financial aid, and any other information pertaining to your NCAA eligibility. William Patterson, the NJAC, and the NCAA need access to these records to determine your eligibility. Flipping over to the next page, HIPAA covers your protected health information. And William Patterson may access and disclose your health information to those parties involved in your healthcare. And so now we have where it says number 3, voluntary FERPA HIPAA consent, check 1 or both of the first 2 boxes or the 3rd box below. So check the first box if you approve sharing your FERPA information necessary to nominate you for awards. For example, we need access to your academic records in order to nominate you for academic all NJAC, things like that. So check the first box if you approve sharing your FERPA information, we need to nominate you for awards. Check the second box if you approve sharing your HIPAA, your medical information, for research purposes. Or you're going to check the 3rd box if you do not approve either of these additional voluntary consents. And so everyone needs to put at least 1 check mark in here. You can check the first box, you can check the second box, you can check the first and second box, or check the 3rd box, okay? Numbers 4 and 5, under this section, your FERPA and HIPAA protected information may be disclosed to the NCAA, but will be done so in a way that you are not personally identifiable. This most often occurs as we are doing graduation rate reports. Names are not included in that information that is released. Part 3, about the middle of the page, is about amateurism. So you must meet the NCAA's amateurism standards in order to be eligible. You cannot compete on any pro team or agree to compete on a pro team in the future, orally or in writing. You cannot accept any goods or services for free or at a discounted rate based on your athletic skill. The NCAA calls this an extra benefit. If the gym down the street offers a 10% discount to all William Harrison students, that is permissible. But if the gym down the street offers a 10% discount to William Harrison student athletes, that is not allowed. That would be a violation. You cannot appear in advertisements or social media posts for an outside business, even if you don't receive compensation. This is called implied endorsement. I'm sure you've heard the NCAA is working on name, image, likeness legislation, but at this time, none of that is in effect. Also, you cannot have any contact with or take anything from an agent. If you attended high school outside of the US, you must report it to me. Please include that note in your paperwork or drop me an email. If you had more than a 1-year gap between graduating from high school and starting college, and you played this sport during that time, you also must report that to me at this time. And so we have 2 boxes to choose from here under number 2, historical violations. You are choosing one or the other. Check the first box if, to the best of your knowledge, you've never committed an amateurism violation or given false or misleading information about a potential violation. So check the first box, no violations. Or check the second box if you have committed an amateurism violation or given false or misleading information about a potential violation. You must report this immediately to the Director of Athletics. Part 4, we're still on page number 9. This is the beginning of the drug tests information. You are responsible for what you take, eat, and drink. The list of banned substances is available on ncaa.org and wpupioneers.com/compliance. Keep track of all the medications taken, even over the counter. Please tell your athletic trainer of any prescription drugs you are taking. Almost all supplements and energy drinks have banned substances. And just so you know, CBD is a banned substance. Prescriptions from a doctor are okay, even if those are on the banned list. The most frequent examples we see of this are for ADD and ADHD medications. So if you are taking any medications on the banned list, but you have a prescription from a doctor, that is fine. Please tell the athletic trainer, and they will work with you to file the appropriate paperwork if necessary. So we have boxes to check under historical drug test results. First, you are aware of the NCAA drug testing program. If you test positive or fail to appear for a test for testing conducted by the NCAA or non-NCAA athletics organization, you must report it to the Director of Athletics. Okay. Number 2, there's an either or for checking a box. So you must check one or the other. You will check the first box if you have never tested positive for a banned substance or failed to appear for a test for tested conducted by the NCAA or non-NCAA athletics organization. Or you will check the second box if you have tested positive in the past for testing conducted by the NCAA or non-NCAA athletics organization. And if so, you must report it immediately to the Director of Athletics. Part 5, sports wagering. We're right at the bottom of page 9 still. 1, you understand the NCAA prohibitions as previously explained on page 7 of this packet. Number 2, and this will take us over to the next page, historical sports wagering suspensions. So the top of the next page, page 10, you have 2 boxes and you'll check one or the other. Please check the first box if you have never been suspended for a sports wagering violation. You will only check the second box at the very top of this page if you have been suspended for a sports wagering violation, and you must report it immediately to the Director of Athletics. Part 6, academic eligibility information. This is for freshmen only. When you sign at the end of this, you agree that the academic information you provided to William Patterson was accurate and complete. Part 7 is about other prior violations, and you are going to check one box or the other. Please check the first box if, other than information you newly shared earlier in this document or information you shared in years previous, you are unaware of being involved in any NCAA rules violations. Check this second box under Part 7 if you are aware of being involved in any NCAA rules violations you have not previously disclosed. And if this is true, you must report it immediately to the Director of Athletics. Part 8, information pertaining to future transfer. You agree to allow William Patterson to share any pertinent information with the NCAA, conference offices, or other NCAA institutions if you choose to transfer in the future. Part 9 is about termination of this agreement. You may terminate this agreement in the future in writing, but doing so will make you immediately ineligible. If you wanted to terminate this agreement, you would have to do so in writing to my attention. And now Part 10, all the way at the bottom, student athlete signatures. Please do not miss this part. You understand and agree to all of the provisions listed in these 3 NCAA pages, and you've asked any questions you may have. And any questions, again, can be directed to me for right now via email. So please sign and date at the bottom. If you are not at least 18 years old, your parent or guardian also must sign. And please pause the video while you complete these entries. Page 11 is the NCAA drug testing consent. And so write your name and sport at the top, please. This is saying if you advance to an NCAA championship, you consent to be tested if randomly chosen. You accept the consequences of a failed test, which would be our team forfeiting and you being suspended for up to 2 years. Your sample can be used for research purposes, and the results are only released for determining your eligibility. So please complete all of the entries at the bottom of the page. Again, if you are not at least 18 years old, a parent or guardian also must sign. And please pause the video while you complete these entries. Page 12 is our timeline since high school. It is my responsibility to account for every semester between when you graduated high school and right now. So write your name, your sport, and your high school graduation month and year at the top. All right. Again, the month and the year that you graduated from high school, this gives me a starting point. And just so we don't forget, please sign and date now at the very bottom. And by signing, you're saying this timeline is a complete and accurate report of my college attendance and participation in intercollegiate athletics. So please find the fall semester after you graduated from high school. For example, if you graduated from high school in 2019, then you need to find fall 2019. So you will start with the fall after you graduated high school, and you are going to fill in these 3 lines for every semester all the way through spring 2021. Please do not leave any gaps. The school column means please list the name of the college you attended. If you weren't taking any college classes, you were working but you were not in school, please put NIS for not in school. The FTPT column is asking if you were a full-time student, FT would be you started the semester registered for at least 12 credits, or a part-time student. PT, which means you started the semester registered for less than 12 credits. The competed column, you're going to put Y or N for yes or no. And this is asking if you practiced and or competed in the sport. So yes or no, practiced or competed in the sport during that semester. If you suffered a season-ending injury, illness, and received a medical hardship waiver, put MHW. So again, you start with the fall after you finished high school, and you fill in every semester between then all the way through spring 2021. If you're a college freshman, you just graduated high school in 2020, you are only filling out fall 2020 and spring 21. So please pause the video while you complete these entries. Now that you've completed all of this paperwork, please go back to the cover page, page 1, and print your name, sign, and date to confirm that you watched this entire video. But I do have a few things to finish up with. It is an NCAA rules violation to miss class in order to go to practice. Please do not skip class to go to practice. Please pay your bill on time every semester. If you fail to pay your bill at some point before the semester begins, the university will drop for non-payment. It will be almost impossible for you to get those classes back again if you are dropped for non-payment. Next thing, please don't wait until the last minute to take care of things. Unforeseen problems can come up, but if you do everything at the last minute, you will not have time to have any issues that arise without you knowing about them in advance. You also have the privilege of getting priority registration. You get to register for your classes before the general student body. Please use it. But that also means you must meet with your advisor about a week in advance at a minimum in order to get your alternate PIN. Again, you must be a full-time student every minute of every day. I receive a report at 8 a.m., but you could go in and drop a class at 8:01 a.m. If you competed while less than full-time and you were not allowed to do so, we would have to report it to the NCAA and forfeit if we were fortunate enough to win that game. Please complete your FAFSA as early as you can. And please file any satisfactory academic progress or financial aid satisfactory academic progress appeals well before those deadlines. Those happen over the summer. If you wanted to take a course somewhere else and transfer those credits back to William Patterson, before you do that, you must complete the visiting student authorization process. This is a piece of paperwork that you have to walk around basically within your academic department. It protects you because we are going to tell you before you take that course whether we will give you credits for it or not. So this is very, very important. If you do not do the visiting student authorization process in advance, you take a class somewhere else, you try to transfer it back in, William Patterson does not have to give you credit for it, okay? Tobacco use and vaping banned during practice and competition. Now, you know that you may not participate with an outside team or league during non-COVID times, what we would call your traditional or non-traditional seasons, your competitive season, or in the other semester for our fall and spring sports, the opposite semester when we have team workouts. Now, there is a COVID-related waiver for this for 2020-21, okay? But you must receive permission from the compliance officer, that's me, before participating with an outside team or league during any other part of the year, whether it's COVID times or not COVID times. If you want to play in a summer league, you must send me an email in advance with some details about that league, and I will walk you through that process. William Patterson only communicates with you via your student.wpunj.edu email address. So check it every day, okay? Any student conduct issues, please alert your coach and complete all your requirements. Ignoring it will not make it go away. In fact, ignoring it will make it worse. Okay, so please don't let a small thing escalate into a huge thing because you did not go through relatively minor procedures in order to resolve that conduct issue. All right. As I said earlier, you can lose your eligibility for a conduct issue. The William Patterson Student Athlete Handbook is available on our website. It's under Athletic Department. And at the end of your season, we will send you a questionnaire. It should take you less than 5 minutes. Please complete that questionnaire. It gives us a lot of really valuable information about your experience as a William Patterson student athlete. I thank you for watching this video, and I wish you the very best with your academic and athletic endeavors during the 2020-21 academic year. And if you ever have any questions or need assistance, please feel free to email me at any time, brocioush@wpunj.edu. Thank you.